So this series is a little bit different. I'm going to be taking you through our home renovation. And this is something that's pretty exciting for us. We're renovating a Queenslander in Brisbane, Australia. It's a house that's over 100 years old. And we're doing some pretty exciting things. So I do want to share with you our journey on this. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Claire O'Connell. I'm the beating heart behind Reno Way of Life. And this is the channel for you if you love everything to do with design, investment, and renovation. This series, we're going to talk about our renovation. I'm going to take you on a journey as we renovate. So before we get started on the actual renovation project, I wanted to give you a little bit of background. So my husband and I have been living in the States for the last 6 years. We lived in the UK 7 years prior to that, and he's from Ireland, I'm from Australia. We met backpacking in Canada, and here we are in Australia now. So basically during the pandemic, we made a decision to move back to Australia. We have a young family. We have 3 kids under 3. So we decided that it was time to bring them back to my hometown. And so what we did is we started looking for property like you do. We wanted to make sure that we had a house to bring our family to, but being avid renovators, I mean, we've been renovating houses for the last 10 years for other people. Finally, it was our opportunity to renovate a house ourselves. And I knew full well that if we bought a house that had needed nothing doing to it, I would end up tearing it apart and restarting again, redesigning it. So it was a complete waste of money. So we were really looking for something that we could put a stamp on, our own stamp. And so we started searching online. Now, I had a few parameters that I really wanted as far as this house. I wanted a Queenslander. We were moving to Brisbane, Queensland, and there's a really cool house called a Queenslander. They're old houses. They were built anytime from sort of the late 1800s through to the early 1900s. And most of them are timber-built houses. They're raised off the ground on stumps, and they were built basically due to the extreme climate here, tropical climate, pests, and sort of flooding as well. So they're beautiful houses. They have a load of character, which I'll talk you through in this series. We have the VJs behind me, and that's why we have such a rough exterior. We're currently in the middle of a reno, so I haven't got a pretty office to share with you just yet. And there's fretwork and bits and pieces, which I'll share later. That's another video for later. What I want to talk to you about in this video is how we got this house. So we actually got this house by buying the wrong house, if you'd believe it. So like I said, we were in the States. We decided to buy a house. We bought it sight unseen. So we picked the first house, and we've been looking at multiple houses, but we decided to put an offer on this one house. It was walking distance to my parents' house, and it was a Queenslander, and it was in the suburb that we wanted to be in. So it ticked all of the boxes. So we put an offer on this house. Our offer was accepted, and bish bash bosh, we were ready to go. After some sort of research and some thinking, there were a couple of elements with this house that were some red flags to us. One was that there was a train line at the back. We were told that that train line was pretty much no longer in use. But after some research, we found out actually it was in use, and it was a coal trains used to go through there. And it actually is also some express trains that go through there. And now that we've moved to the area, we find out pretty regularly. So we were pretty concerned about that. Secondly, there was a block of units being built just directly across the road, which didn't concern us initially, but then we realized that that block of units has been in the same construction state for quite some time. So it sounds like the builder may have gone bust, or work has halted completely. So basically you're living across the road from an absolute eyesore. And thirdly, we found out that that street is a cut through. So a lot of traffic is heading down that road to cut through the suburb. So that wasn't really ideal for us with 3 dogs and 3 kids. So I called an agent locally, completely independent to this process. He had nothing to gain from the conversation that we had. But ultimately I said to him, look, realtor to realtor, give it to me straight. Is this a good buy? Now we are going to make it our family home, but we do obviously want to protect our investment for the future. So there were some elements that concerned me. He reiterated that they were concerns as well, and they could potentially affect the future resale value of the house. So we decided to pull out. We could have waited for the inspection period and kept our fingers crossed that something significant would have come up. However, unless it's something material, we wouldn't have legally been able to pull out of the contract, and our penalties would have increased significantly. So we decided at that point in the cooling off period, which were the first 5 days of the contract, to cut our losses and to cancel the contract. We paid about $2,500, but I tell you what, it was $2,500 well spent, because when we got here and we realized the location of the house, we were delighted that we decided to move on. That's that. So let's move to this house. So that same agent then gave me the heads up of this house, so it wasn't actually going to market because they wanted to keep costs down as far as real estate agent fees. And so we were able to contact the agent. Now there were a few buyers who were interested just from their own networks. And so we did have a bit of a negotiation, but we still got a great deal on this house. Once again, sight unseen, but we still went ahead and got our inspections done. We bought the house, and actually it's the best decision we ever made. So it's absolutely night and day. Both of them had great locations. This location is much better because it's in a quiet residential street. It also has zoning so that you can't actually put multi-density homes here, meaning that it is going to be primarily residential, not flats, which is great. It's also walking distance to our kids' school. It's walking distance to grandma and granddad's house. So all in all, a great decision made, and the house itself is absolutely gorgeous. So let me tell you about our plan. What we plan to do with this house is we plan to raise it, we plan to extend to the side, and we also plan to build underneath. So whether you're renovating a Queenslander or not, this series will also be helpful too if you love renovating, or if you're renovating your own home. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the design things, some of the things that we've learned along the way, and also some of the finishes that we'll be doing as well. If you're renovating a Queenslander, we are actually doing owner builder, so we're going to be sharing with you some tips on the owner builder and the process that we've followed, as well as the process we've followed getting our plan through council, as well as all the renovation that we plan to do. So make sure that if you love renovating, you hit like on this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd love for you to join me. If there's any topics that you'd like me to cover, please go ahead and add them in the comments, and I'll try and add a video to that as well. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.